Eating the dogs.
Eating the cats.
Eating the dogs. Eating the cats. Eating the dogs. You watched Thursday night's game then?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he looked good.
Oh, yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
See if we can get anybody in here.
Seems like there's a lot of feedback. You hear all that? I don't know if that's something we need to just adjust on the... Don't do it now, obviously, but... You just hear like a lot of that white noise in the background. Do you hear a lot of that in yours?
Yeah, what is it? Oh, I think it's from this fucking...
Is it? Okay, that's fine. I mean, as long as you don't hear it in the actual video, it doesn't make a difference, but...
I don't know. I don't know if people hear it or not.
They're eating the dog. They're eating people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
I forgot to do the volume things here.
Do what? Oh. They're eating the dogs.
I don't know why it just doesn't do that.
Eating the cats.
They're eating the dog. They're eating people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
Yeah, it's fucking cat.
He is, isn't he? Oh, shit.
Alrighty. Well, we are here. We don't have anybody in yet, I don't think.
Good to go on TikTok, too?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep, the chat's right here.
All right.
Oh, we got some people rolling in. All right. Oh, yeah, we got some viewers. All right.
All right, let's let her rip.
Yep.
You want to hit the intro?
Oh, yeah.
They're eating the dog. They're eating people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating.
Welcome to the RawDawgers Sportscast live. I'm Sean Watson.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Good night, San Diego. No, welcome in. This is number 74. I think we've been doing this for a couple years now, bringing all the unusual and dirty type sports analysis here from North Central Ohio.
Yep.
Everybody, welcome over on TikTok, Facebook Live, X. You can also now hear us over on Spotify. You just want to hear the audio, correct?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Nice.
And
Wherever you grab your podcasts.
yeah, those are the two big ones. I think we're on another one, but I can't remember which one that is.
Maybe Google, something that nobody uses.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Unless you're in the deep state.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, pretty soon here we'll probably have to create a Substack because, we said a bad word.
Right. Anyway, we're going to get into a couple things. Obviously, Cleveland Browns is, if you can't tell, this is a big focus for our podcast. But I want to get into a story that kind of came out this week about the scoring going down in the NFL. I guess the highest season scoring average was in 2020 during COVID, which I thought that was kind of rather weird.
Not a lot of practicing for the defense. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. But ever since then, it's went down every single season. We're on another down trending season. What do you think it is? Anything? And there's been different theories that are thrown out there.
I think most of it is attributed to poor offensive line play.
Okay.
I think the way that they've stripped practices, they make them less physical. They don't practice as long. I don't even think they do 2-a-days anymore in training camp. I mean, fuck, high school kids are doing 6 hours of practice for 2 weeks.
Right.
Of, like, pads on, hitting people. Well, buddy of mine coaches over in Lexington. They're kind of toning shit down too, but it's like you got to get in football shape to play football.
Right.
So when you have to go block Myles Garrett or Dexter Lawrence or whoever the hell you're going up against,
right?
And they don't have a lot of time to gel, to work on their different protections. I think that's a lot of it. And I also think a lot of it, too, is just the quality of defensive linemen in the NFL. Better.
More athletic.
You have pass rushers at all four spots. There's not a lot of Sean Rogers he was a decent pass rusher.
So scheme.
Like Vince Wilfork. Yeah.
They're using the same type of guy same type of build guy, athletic guy in all the positions, rather than you have your DLs versus your DEs and linebackers.
Right.
And there's a lot of them now that your linebackers are covering guys, which that was always like.
Yeah, like JOK could go out there and
from pre-snap
and cover.
No, I mean, I'm talking about, just a regular quarterback from pre-snap.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting a pre-snap read. You're like, oh, shit, I got a mismatch.
Yeah, no. And
I got a linebacker on a receiver.
I'm
going to that guy.
Yeah, and I'll give testament, too, to the defense coordinators out there. Scheming-wise, they have every rule against them. So
right, which still doesn't make any sense. That's what doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and I think a lot of it, too, is a lot of the the shell defenses is what's hurting a lot of things because you can't really push the ball down the field. You got at least 6 guys covering the hook to flat areas in the middle of the field. I think that's been a real go-to for a lot of teams. We play man probably more than most teams just because we have the secondary to do it. But
right.
Like that's just the last 2 games we played. Like that soft shell defense, you have to take those little dump passes, and they're just making people do that.
Right.
Like every defense is.
So they're making them. It's more of a
you're going to beat us in 10 plays or you're not.
Right. Instead of
4
or 5 plays or 1 big play or something like that.
Right.
So I did read an article about this, and one of their theories was the fact of the innovation of the quarterback. So, and this guy actually tracked it all the way back to the year 2000. He says, when you think about around the year 2000, you had more of a pocket style quarterback, where your big score, he was your main scorer through the air, down the field. Now, then you started getting into the 2010s. You started seeing the RPOs.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback position had changed. Then about 2018, you started seeing more mobile quarterbacks, dual threat type guys, where they're keeping the ball more, so they're not getting the breakaway scores down the field as much as they are actually keeping the ball themselves.
Right.
So, maybe that has something to do with it too. The guy also said, we saw the drop from 2020 to 21, which is the biggest drop in scoring NFL scoring history. But he's like, okay, coincidence? Maybe. Don't know. 21 to 22 also dropped again, 22-23. Now you're definitely starting to see a trend.
Yeah.
So, and if anything, you can see the NFL still trying to throw the offenses a bone. They need scoring. That's what they want.
When I seen something too, I think it was can't remember who exactly said it, but he said something about outlawing 2 deep safeties.
Oh yeah, that was Mel Kiper.
What a fucking
earlier
idiot.
this week.
Like, hey, the defense has had to adjust to all this bullshit for the last 20 years. The offense can start to adjust.
Yeah, he's talking about Tampa 2 defenses.
Yeah.
Where you can't.
They've been playing that for fucking 40 years.
Single high safeties, but he's talking about instead of having them 10 to 15 yards deep, only letting them be 5 yards deep. So what, you're wanting them to be in linebackers?
Right.
You're just wanting to get burnt.
Yeah.
So you can see big scoring plays.
Yeah, you're just gonna kill the game.
If you keep seeing trends this way, you could definitely see the NFL trying to do something, whether it be, I'm not going to go down the conspiracy road, but you can see the NFL saying, hey, we need to do something because we're not getting the scoring that we need. We need our the lifeblood of our fantasy football and all that shit lives on scoring. We need to see scoring. We can't have continuously send out, the Broncos and the Steelers out there every week and expect to keep viewership.
To score 21 points.
Right.
Well, I think too, this is going to trend the other way at some point during the season. Because, even last week, I think around the league, offense seemed to look a little bit better. The Thursday night game, I thought Aaron Rodgers looked spectacular.
He looked a lot better in the first week.
And Deshaun Watson, absolutely abysmal week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2, I think his adjusted completion percentage was 81%. So he was taking the throws that were there. He looked decent to me.
Right.
Looked really mobile, especially those throws he made on the run, even though they weren't huge plays. But, a couple of them were really big moment plays for first downs and whatnot. I think you'll see the offense get better week after week, just because of what I said before, the way the practices are structured. The players' union needs to stop being fucking pussies. You guys are making all this fucking money. I get it for the guys that, barely make the roster, but, you got to get in football shape. You got to get these things tuned up. And nobody wants to play anybody in the preseason. even though some teams did, like the Chiefs, and look, they seem to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think
that's a great point.
I think that in itself, you know, I get you don't want to get people hurt, but you know, you can't put everybody in saran wrap.
This is kind of where my theory's going. You have, and I think it goes back to now extending it to a 17-game regular season, and you dropped one of the preseason games off.
So the first month of the season is basically preseason.
Yeah, so now you're seeing even less teams even play any starters over those 3 games, and then they look really shitty come week 1.
Well, and they never should have added any games without adding another bye week. I get
That's
that.
fine.
Well, I get that, you know.
When they go to 18, which they are going to. They're going to.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get another bye
It's just, that's a hell of, you know, I think the most games I ever played in high school made it to the second round, so 12.
Right.
You know, and you have your preseason stuff, but that's a lot. Week after week after week.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, with those kind of athletes, that's just too much. And that's why I kind of get why they want to put guys in saran wrap. But the first month of the season is that everybody's figuring out really what their identity is instead of knowing it before going into the year.
Right.
So, you know, I did take a lot of stock in week 1. I was hoping it wasn't going to go the way it did.
We all did.
You know, the offensive line was horrible. Like I said, I think they got better in the second week too.
Yeah,
you know,
talking Browns-Jags last week. Great.
I think they got better against the Jags. I also think they ran the ball more effectively. It wasn't, wasn't giant. Ford did have that big, 38-yarder?
Yeah.
I mean, he's good on the outsides. I don't like him running up the middle. I like the way they rotated the running backs last week too. You know, and that's another thing. You're figuring out your rotations. You're figuring out all this shit. I think by the time you get to week 5 or 6, you're going to see the 31 to 27s, the 28 20s, 27 games.
Okay.
More often.
Right.
Not from Denver or Pittsburgh, but
no. Probably not from Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. You're sending Skylar Thompson out there this week against the Seahawks.
I mean, he played pretty valiantly against the Bills in that.
He did have a playoff game in there. I think he had a playoff start. So I watched that. We haven't really talked about that. We haven't talked about.
I did watch that too.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Tua throwing up gang signs again, which he did. I mean, they didn't really, hone in on it as much this time, but yeah,
it wasn't as bad, but it was still pretty bad.
It was still pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy just signed a huge contract with what was it, $90 million guaranteed, which is the biggest part of the contract.
Right.
It was
more than that.
Well, it was 200. I thought it was. I don't know. We'd have to look it up, but I thought it was around the neighborhood of $90 million guaranteed. Regardless. Then you got people coming out, like Anthony Pierce coming out this week and talking on Tua like, hey, I think this, he should just go ahead and retire. Then you got other people getting pissed off at him because he has an opinion on the situation, what he thinks you should do. Hey, this is our guy. You don't need to be talking about this guy.
Right. You
stick with your own team. You got your own problems over there with the Raiders. Let us worry about it. So, what's your thought about it? I mean, you have any thoughts on what would you do on a personal level?
I mean, he's had bad concussions.
Yes.
Really bad ones. At least they look bad. I don't know if there's what the doctors, the scans or whatever show. But at that point, I mean, you really going to walk away?
Right.
Maybe stop putting your fucking head down.
Right.
When you're going up against the linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
That when he did that in that play, I was like, why are you trying to truck that guy? You already had the first down.
And the irony that DeMar Hamlin is the one that gave him the concussion with his chest.
Can't write this shit.
Right.
There's so many fucking things just happening all the time.
So he played all of the 2022 season, but if you remember the season before, I think it was, I don't know if that was against the Bills week 2, where he fell back, hit his head, then he got up, stumbled, went out, came back in,
then died.
Yeah, but then he goes to Cincinnati, and I think it was that Thursday night game, and that's when he had the throwing up gang signs game.
Yeah.
Goes out for, basically they said it was going to be the rest of the season, decides to go ahead and come back towards the end of the season, gets concussed again. So it's hard because I can't put myself in that situation,
right,
because I'm not that athlete.
And we also got to remember too, this wasn't a thing 20 years ago.
Right.
Brett Favre probably had 1,000 concussions.
We know Aikman did. You can see it in his eye every time he's up there in the booth every week.
Right. He's got to have a drink in his hand at all times.
Right.
I don't blame him. Yeah, that's I don't know. If he was 30, he's just getting into the real money making part of his career. If it happens again, then I would say yeah. But a competitor, you're really going to walk away at what is he, 25, 26
yeah,
maybe?
something like that. But I mean, you have like, you're going to go home, even if you decide to play in the NFL, you're going to go and buy one of those small islands around Hawaii at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you just secured the bag. Okay.
Well, the world's about to fucking end anyway.
Generational wealth, whatever. From a monetary standpoint, do you want to end the rest of your season or end your, the rest of your life,
Right.
possibly in a wheelchair?
I mean,
you don't know that's going to happen.
He's probably going to shoot himself in the chest at some point,
Exactly,
regardless. So.
Right. But then again, if it's
tits and glory,
it's in these athletes they want to play. I mean, it's kind of that killer instinct. It's that competitive nature of these athletes. They want to go ahead and play these games. So, personally, me, shut up about it. Pierce, do I think he was out of line there? No, you can have any opinion you want to have. That's fine. Do I think he should have spoke on it? No, I don't. You have your own quarterback issue there with Gardner Minshew. But whatever. You guys still need to figure out. You guys still need to draft a quarterback because apparently Spencer Rattler ain't in unless you're going to sit him beside Gardner Minshew. Let him, mentor him, whatever.
Right.
But let Tua decide what he wants to do for himself. And I think that's basically the best way to handle it. Anyway, going back to the Browns game last week, I felt really, really good in that first half.
You were right, by the way. It's $93 million guaranteed.
93, okay. I felt really good in that first half of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we came out good. Watson scored a rushing touchdown.
Was really good in that opening drive. I think it was 7 for 8. And
Here's
one
my
was a
two
drop.
biggest things. Then we came out in the second half, and this is when you really, really saw it. But the Browns, the penalties. 11 penalties, 85 yards.
8 of them were on the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
And most of those...
a couple of them were,
stupid-ass, things that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Now that Callahan's gone, is there a problem with the coaching room? And are these guys are they not disciplined?
I'm going to have to see another week of it. I would say this, though, that, they're already playing, seems like at the end of the game every week, they're down to like 2 of the starters that started the game.
Yeah.
That never helps.
No.
I think a lot of the penalty, there was a couple like the motion calls and stuff like that just weren't flags that they just called. They're getting, and it's not that they're doing this to every team, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like
they should be.
The Ravens Chiefs.
Yes.
We talked about that last year with
the
tackles being fucking 3 yards off
the
ball. Mm-hmm. And they only called it on one team. I've watched every game I've watched. I'm like, that dude's fucking.
I do feel like
they don't throw that, but
right. I do feel like the league is definitely made an emphasis on these offensive lines lining up,
which is good.
To me, and stuff. Yeah, because once again, it goes back to our whole thing. Why should the offense get all the breaks?
Right. Well, and kind of like Myles Garrett getting fucking tackled.
Yeah, you just hate to see.
I'm so sick of watching.
How many times last Sunday though did you see the Browns had? They had a converted play for a first down.
Well,
they had a big
false
game
starts,
play, and then it got fucking called back.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that shit all the time though either.
No, and the note that you put down there on pace to beat the record.
Yeah.
I think this has been a subtle issue the whole time Stefanski's been here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they haven't been the worst, but they haven't been the best either when it comes to penalties.
Right.
And it seems like it pops up for a couple weeks, then they kind of manage it for a few weeks, and it pops back up. I don't know how you fix that other than practice it.
Right.
Like, I don't understand. And especially like at Jacksonville, it's not like you're going to fucking Buffalo or you're going somewhere that actually has fans.
Right.
We had more Browns fans in that stadium than they had Jags fans. So it's not like the noise was the issue. You can understand a couple jumps if you're on the road, but that has to be fixed. You can't keep killing yourself because that game we should have won that game 28-3.
Right.
I mean,
so week 1, just to get going back to this, the Browns are now on a record pace of 204 penalties for the season, which would absolutely smash the old record of 164 by about 25%.
Is that the Raiders?
I don't know who the team was, but week 1, Browns had 13 penalties for 100 yards. This last week, they had 11 penalties for 85. So, I mean, you're giving up you're giving back to the defense, and then
And I'll say a couple of those were bullshit, but most of them were just procedural, dumb fucking penalties.
Yeah.
To me, honestly, what they should start doing, if you commit one of those dumb penalties, you get to sit for a fucking series.
Right. Whatever. I mean, you don't want to hurt your team.
No, but
ultimately, but you're
they're
still
hurting
us. Right. All right, so let's get into this week a little bit. I do want to talk about the division a little bit. I like how it seems like it's a little bit upside down at the moment. I know we're only through a couple weeks. Is that going live?
Yeah. We got 17 people in here.
Oh, I can't even see anybody on there.
Right.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. Very good. Welcome in, everybody, over on TikTok. I want to get into the division a little bit. It seems like it's a little upside down, I think, from where everybody predicted. Baltimore now 0-2. The Bengals now 0-2. The Browns 1-1. And the Steelers leading the division 2-0 with an over-under win total, I believe, around 9. I think for the Steelers, 9.5.
9.5, I think.
9.5.
I think they got 9.5. We got 8.5.
Yeah, didn't make any sense. Now, so what's going on? What's going on in this division right
Pittsburgh has really had a gauntlet here in the first 2 weeks.
This is true. A lot of it's set on that. Let's go with Baltimore. They had that leadoff game against the Chiefs.
Which they played well in.
Yeah, and you got to go, but Lamar Jackson about killed himself. You can't have that guy go out there and do what he was doing in that game
every week.
It's not feasible. He's going to
get hurt. I don't understand what they're doing with Derrick Henry. Why are you not running the pistol?
I don't know. Know.
Hey, keep fucking up, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
Fine with me.
I don't see Pittsburgh continuing to win like this.
I don't either. And because we know that they're back into their schedules really
rough.
They have to do what they need to do in the beginning.
They have to start off like 5-0 to even have a chance.
Right.
Who are they playing this week?
Let me see. Look at that.
But
Chargers. Chargers come to Pittsburgh.
I can see the Chargers winning that game.
Yeah.
Because they're playing really well.
By their win total, they should lose that game.
Right.
Just off the win total average. The Steelers should lose this game.
But they're at home, so that defense makes plays. That's why they are always in the hunt.
Right. Over under is 34.5.
But Cincinnati, you lose to New England, and I just watched them play one of the worst offensive games I've ever seen with Jacoby, which wasn't really his fault. It was just they don't have anything there in New England.
Right.
And obviously, the Jets lit them up.
Yes, they did.
So I'm not a big proponent of the Bengals really being that good this year.
No.
They played well in Kansas City, but that's kind of a rivalry now.
And is that going back to your previous point? Like, you're starting off the season because now getting back to this, look at this stat. The Bengals now are 1-9 in Joe Burrow era through the first 2 weeks in 5 years. Yeah. They're 1-9.
Yeah.
That's something.
That is something. And before his injury last year, it's not like they were setting the world on fire after they start. I think were they 0-2?
They had a stripe. Yeah, because they lost to us, and I can't remember if they lost the second game or not. But they lost to us opening game.
Right.
But I think they did. I think they lost the first 2 again last year.
Right. Now I think they're going to be around 500.
Yeah.
We
I think we had them at 10 wins, didn't we, in our preseason totals? Like right around then, 10.
Yeah.
I think we had the Steelers around 6-7 wins. We had the Bengals at 10. We had us and the Ravens at 12.
Right.
Which, the Ravens got to get cranking now. Yeah. So, they're also...
Well, and the Ravens really blew it.
Yeah. So let's get into that a little bit.
The Raiders must just have something.
So the Raiders scored in the fourth...
At M&T Bank Stadium twice.
Correct.
2 years in a row.
So the Raiders... Baltimore scored a touchdown with 8 minutes and change left in that game. Gardner Minshew led 3 different scoring drives in that fourth quarter for the Raiders to come back and end up winning that game at Baltimore. So, and I can't say anything. Gardner Minshew kind of carved us up the last time we played when he was in Indy. Okay, but also, remember, was this last year where when he was with the Colts and they had that game and they ended up going to Baltimore and they won?
They won. Yeah.
They won, yeah. So I don't know. Gardner Minshew kind of has the number.
He's the king.
But
of the
now
AFC
they're
North
0-2, and who does the Ravens have this week? Look at this real quick. I don't have the schedule in memory. I just know the debacle that we're going to have on Monday night. Can't wait to sink my teeth into that. Let's see here. Here we go. Oh, they get to go to Jerry World after the Cowboys just took an ass whipping from the Saints.
Yeah.
They are not going to be happy.
The Saints are, I don't know, they are playing fucking...
Yeah, something about Carr. He scored on 15 consecutive drives or some shit to start the season.
They haven't,
Every single drive.
Yeah, they have not scored points on
That's
any.
crazy. And, you know, this is the best we've...
Talking about that during a offensive
Yeah.
lull in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who'd they play week 1? I don't think they really played anybody, did they?
Panthers.
Well,
yeah, beat the shit out of the Panthers.
Who was I listening? I was listening to Z and what's his face, and it wasn't Z. It was what the fuck's the other guy's name?
Bishop.
Bo Bishop.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, I had Carolina winning that. And I was like, what?
Winning that game?
Yeah. Like I think we both agreed that New Orleans is probably going to win that or in the hunt to win that division this year.
Yeah.
Them, Atlanta, and Tampa.
I mean, I was on the board with Atlanta all the way.
Right.
And with what
and they're
Atlanta,
getting better. They're
what Atlanta
better
did last Monday night.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you want to talk about that a little bit? Let's talk about how much Philly screwed themselves on that and throwing that little out route to Barkley instead, to try to convert on third down instead of just running the ball.
Right.
Or just give an RPO to Jalen Hurts and let him go an end around and just try to convert. And if nothing else, then you can run the clock out, kick a field goal.
Well, and
you can run the clock. Okay.
I don't like Sirianni there.
Right.
I don't understand how he kept his job.
Atlanta had no timeouts left. They had no timeouts left when all that was going down. So all you had to do was just run the ball.
Right.
And then you kick a field goal. Then you're taking another 35 seconds off, 40 seconds off.
Well,
the
then
clock.
you're up by 9.
Right. Oh, they ended up kicking the field goal.
Yeah.
They ended up kicking the field goal. The problem was
you left too much time.
Kirk Cousins came back and just a blaze of glory and let him down the field with
on a Monday night game.
Yeah, on three long pass plays, put him in and won the game. And then Jalen Hurts, they do get the ball back. Jalen Hurts throws an interception on second down. No way in hell you should throw in that ball.
Right.
So, anyway, I just think the division.
I don't like how Phillies ran right now.
I just think the division is a little upside down right now.
Yeah. First month of the season, I don't put too much stock in, but I think Baltimore's showing their leaks.
Yep.
They're showing all these guys that left on that defense. They don't know how to use Derrick Henry yet. Hopefully, you never will. Pittsburgh, you had 2 winnable games that you had to freaking claw and scratch to win.
Right.
Obviously we had a horrible week 1. Week 2, we beat a playoff contending team on the road, and honestly, physically, destroyed them. There were some hits in that game that were a la Ray Lewis.
Right. Right.
That fumble that got called back, Jesus, it looked like a hit stick on Madden. So that was really exciting to see. I think the physicality of the Browns really showed last week, and I think you're going to see it this week. Let's fucking pray to the gods. Right.
So starting off or going on to this week, if somehow the Browns now everybody feels like Carolina's decided to sit Bryce Young, start Andy Dalton. Everybody feels like Carolina's the worst team in the league. I'll tell you what, the Giants aren't far behind.
No.
And I don't even know who I'd take into
Denver, maybe.
Well, Denver has the worst offense in the league right now.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think you had the Giants and the Panthers going head to head.
That should be the Monday night game.
Yeah, it should be. I think I'd take Carolina with Andy Dalton
against the Giants. It would depend to me where they were playing.
Right.
But no, I think Andy Dalton, you at least have competency there. And I was in a conversation the other day, someone saying we should trade for Bryce Young. I'm like,
I saw that too.
We already did 4 years of a midget quarterback. You want to get smaller?
Right. Yeah.
What? Have you watched this guy play?
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with Carolina. I mean, I'm going to say this. They didn't really put anything around him. But he didn't show you anything that...
Right.
You watch him play, it looks like a fucking 8th grader out
there. And I think you're hearing a lot more of this with, the Bryce Young proponents, is that, you're seeing Sam Darnold through the first 2 games looking really good with Minnesota. Everybody's saying, well, now that Sam Darnold has some weapons, you can see maybe what he can do. He's in year 7.
Year 7.
Okay. All right. that's fine.
Hopefully you fucking progress some.
Sam Darnold is still a hell of a lot bigger quarterback than Bryce Young.
Yeah.
So he's much more of a prototypical type quarterback.
And Sam Darnold actually had some games in there in Carolina.
Yeah.
Like 300-yard games, you know.
Yeah. Carolina, then he went to the 49ers.
Yeah. Big trash there.
Yeah. Big trash. Absolutely. So going to this game with the Giants, you know, on Sunday, what are you expecting here? I'll tell you what my wish list is.
Okay, well, my wish list is we see the pre-snap penalties
That's one of mine.
erased. You get one of
Number
those.
one
of
on
those
my
a game.
list.
One of those a game. More than that, you fired. 2, I would really love to see 3 passing touchdowns.
Okay.
I really love
Cooper.
Jerry Judy this year.
I want to see Cooper get
Well, Coop needs to get involved.
Yeah.
He needs to catch the fucking ball.
Yes.
Because he was part of the reason they didn't win by 2 touchdowns last weekend. And I would really love to see no touchdowns allowed at home against this offense. It should be in the dog pound. There's no way they should.
It's anemic.
Yeah.
The Giants.
They should maybe get a field goal.
Or offense. I mean, is just absolutely bad.
Because
no, they can't. They don't have a kicker.
Oh.
Unless they sign somebody this week, which I haven't read yet. But
Right.
Graham Gano.
I'm sure they have somebody on their practice.
The Giants
squad or
had no kicker last week against the Redskins. The Redskins won that game 21-18. The Giants scored 3 touchdowns. The Giants still lost 21-18. Well, it makes sense because they didn't have a kicker. So they have to go for a 2-point conversion every single time.
Right.
How does that happen?
No, I would really love to see the offense just look smooth. I thought it went in a very good direction last week against a much better defense.
Right.
This should be a resounding 28-3 win. It should not be close.
No. So I'm with you on that. I'm a little lower expectations than you. I want to cut the penalties in half. So instead of having 10 penalties, I want to go to 5.
Well, I said pre-snap.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I mean, so
fair enough.
You have a hold. That's going to happen.
That's the whole thing. Right.
Or
all right.
you
5 penalties.
pass interference. They're going to call that bullshit.
I don't want more than 3 of those to be like an illegal procedure.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, false start. You should have none at home.
Right.
And I will allow 1 fucking shift, illegal shift. But more than that, you got to have your timing down. That's what practice is for. To fucking do all the motions that they want to do.
Second on my list is Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Second on my list, you have to get him the ball. Whatever's going on there, and he's missing, the guy doesn't miss catches.
Right.
But he hasn't looked really very good the last couple weeks at all. And going back to week 1, then, he had that drop, which would have been a touchdown. Wouldn't have made a difference against Dallas, but he still should at least score that touchdown.
Right.
And then last week, a couple drops in there, one would have converted and kept that drive going for us. I want to see that. And then my other big one that I want to see is I want to see a game, and this is the perfect game for this, where we are +2 on the turnover differential.
Yeah, and they've missed on so many opportunities for turnovers.
I want to see them at least +2.
The ball.
Actually, I want no turnovers from us.
Yeah.
And at least 2 that we take away from them.
The ball's been in the hands of our defensive backs 6 times, and they haven't came down with an interception now. I think that'll change.
Right.
You would hope. And, they had that fumble on that kickoff last week, that stupid fucking penalty of the kicker running past the 50. What?
Right.
That's so stupid.
That was. And nobody really knows how that's going to work out because it's the new format of the kick.
Right.
No, I agree. But you also have to know how.
Well, he should know.
You should know what
you
can
have
do
fucking 2 jobs. You kick field goals and you kick the ball.
Yeah, you should know what the rules are. You should know.
Which,
that.
honestly, I don't know why they're not just having the punter fucking do the kickoffs.
Borquez?
Yeah, Borquez, because, he got hurt last year fucking running down a kick.
Right, going back to that, MVP of the game last week with that 1 yard when he kicked it out on the 1.
Oh,
basically gave us,
yeah.
I mean, game ball.
Pretty much game.
Yeah. Ronnie Borquez.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Ronnie Bass Borquez.
Oh, I think we have the best special teams unit, at least kickers wise, in the league.
Right.
Who would you put over them?
I don't know. I don't think you would.
I really like Corey, and I really like Hopkins. I'm glad they extended him.
Sure.
He's just been nutting everything.
Little injury report this week. I read the article where it looks like Myles Garrett has some foot problems in one, if not both feet, but he's going to go ahead and play through it. Probably something, if it doesn't get any worse, he's going to try to address in the offseason.
Right. Hey, if you guys are
big
watching, could you hit that like and share button? That'd be really awesome. We'd appreciate it.
Big deal, or
Jack Conklin?
no, Myles Garrett.
Oh.
He has,
he's a machine.
He has some foot problems. He just came out yesterday. I think he was talking about it. Something that's going to have to be addressed with a surgery of some sort.
After
Hopefully
the
in the off season, if it doesn't get any worse, which we hate to see that happen. So,
that scares me. I didn't see that.
What's that?
That he was dealing with foot stuff.
That just came out yesterday. I read about it. The report. Any other injuries? We know Conklin's out, right?
Yeah, he just
Out
got
again. But Wills is questionable at this time, so that should help our offensive line, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean he's not Joe Thomas, but he's a
because
starter.
essentially, Conklin's been out after his extension, of course, that we talked about, and
He's
then
only been in 2 games. I think
he was going to move over to the left tackle position, right? Isn't that what their plan was with Conklin? Is move him over to left tackle?
Well, he's basically going to be the swing tackle, I think.
Okay.
So because I think Jets.
He could go right or left, or DeJuan Jones.
Well, he played left tackle in college, so.
Right. But I thought he was going to try to take that position altogether.
He might.
They were going to take.
I mean,
they were
they're
going to
paying
take
him like he
Wills
should.
and not, Right.
But I think they still want to give Wills a year here to see what he is, which I still don't understand why he's missed as much time as he has.
I don't.
Like, is the guy doing the work?
I don't know.
I that's definitely one of those picks that we wish we could have had back and went with Wirfs.
Right.
I mean, his rookie year he was pretty good, but ever since then it's just like, dude, do you want to be here?
Right.
You're on a good team, like you're making
And
a bunch
he
of
is
money.
on his 5th year this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's either put out or you're not going to be here.
Right.
Or are we back to the drawing board for a left tackle?
Which I think that's
That's
already
probably
in the
what's
plan.
gonna happen
I think
anyway,
that's
so.
going to be your first round draft pick this year.
Right. Anyway, anything else you kind of want to bring up?
For the game this weekend?
This game, yeah. This game or NFL otherwise, or
No, this will tell a lot to me. I think this weekend, if they go out and they play well and they do what I think they should be able to do.
right,
Coop plays well.
and really put it to a team that you should
You
put
should.
it to.
Yeah, which I mean, they for the most part they have done in the Stefanski area. But just I want to see Deshaun look comfortable like he did last week. I think they'll be able to run the ball a little bit better. The one thing the Giants do have is a decent front on defense. So,
And we have a stretch of very winnable games here.
yeah, take advantage of it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I think they should be 4-1. 3-1, 4-1 here in the next.
Yeah, I mean,
You got to take advantage of
we
it.
go Giants, then we go at Redskins, then we.
It is a road
go,
trip, though.
Yes, and then we go at Raiders.
Right. That'll be a tough one.
So that'll probably be a tough one.
That'll be the toughest one
So,
in
but
that
I mean,
bunch.
if worse comes to worse,
Because then you go to
we
the
should be
Commanders, right?
3-2. Yeah, the Commanders next week.
Commanders next
then
week,
Raiders.
Raiders, and then don't they go to?
Then I think it tightens up a little bit there.
Well, I think
remember.
even that game isn't a horrible one.
Can't remember if that's a divisional game or not.
I don't think so yet.
I couldn't remember if it was that Thursday night game, Pittsburgh, or
I don't think so yet.
okay.
So, yeah, Raiders, Commanders, Eagles.
Eagles, that's it. Yeah.
So that'll be a challenge. Then you get the Bengals at home, Ravens at home, Chargers at home.
You got 3 straight home games.
Yeah, well they have 3 straight away games
Oh, okay.
after this week.
Okay.
So, I mean, even those home games, like we have the Bengals number. Feel like you're going to at least split with the Ravens. You're probably going to win that one at home.
Right.
And I think we're better than the Chargers. But, I mean, I think by the Chargers week, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 9th game, you should be 6-3, 7-2.
Right.
You know, I could see the Eagles beating us. Raiders going to be a tough one on the road. And, you know, obviously the Baltimore game's always tough. So, you know, if you can go 2-1 in those games,
Mhm.
you should be solid.
Sure. And then you start thinking about your bye week and then possibly the return of Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb could be back 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Eagles game.
Right. The only thing I'm saying is, let's say you lay a pretty good foundation, you don't have to rush the guy back, and then you don't bring him back.
Well, I don't even think like rushing it back. Like first game back, he should get like 5 to 8 carries. It shouldn't be, unless he's feeling good, but 5 carries, then 10, then 12, then 15.
Right, and then start being the back again. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think too. I think Ford's not going to lose playing time on like third downs and stuff. I think he's probably the better option in the passing game.
I actually like Pierre Strong in that position. I actually kind of like Pierre Strong instead of the other two backs, instead of Foreman.
If he can hold on to the ball.
Yeah, instead of Foreman or Ford, I really like him on the third down situation. Yeah. And actually, Chubb's caught more.
I think he's good in the passing game, but they've never used him that way.
Right. I just think that in a perfect world, because now when he's went through the second injury to the same knee, now you have to start being concerned. I think about pitch count, maybe any game. Which is another reason I think if you're able to make it and get back to Nick Chubb after the bye week, then it almost gives you, if he is 100%, 100 plus, then it gives you almost a fresh back just going into the second half of the season.
Yeah,
and possibly into the playoffs.
It's going to be
that's kind of my dream, really.
Yeah,
that's really.
Well, and I think regardless, he's going to be pretty well rested going into the final stretch.
Right.
Because they're going to need him. They will definitely need him.
Sure.
Especially with Njoku out.
All right.
Which I think he might be back quicker than they first thought.
Right.
So that's a good thing. I do like the backup tight end though.
Akins.
Yeah.
Did he even have any plays last week? I don't remember him getting any.
Yeah, he had a big one. I don't know if it was a screenplay, but he had a big catch and run.
Okay.
I thought he had Akins. Yeah, it was 1 for 10. Okay. I thought he had more than one.
So I'm gonna go. I just want to kind of go down the. I'm gonna go down the list of games this week. Of course, we already had the Jets home opener against the Patriots. Didn't see that one coming because I was on the side of the Patriots +6, and I think a lot of people were just because of how they went to Cincinnati, won that game, then they went to overtime game and played Seattle last week. Jets didn't look really that great in the first 2 games.
Right.
Tennessee, they had everything it took for them to win that game last week. So, but Aaron Rodgers, it's like you and I said, Aaron Rodgers looked like old Aaron Rodgers. He looked like.
I think about he's 33 again.
Yeah, he looked really, really good. So we talked about the Browns game. Chargers at Steelers this week, both 2-0 teams. Maybe this is what you should talk about too. Who is a poser and who's the real deal when it comes to any of these 2-0 teams? And here we got a matchup right here: Chargers at Steelers. Steelers catching the Steelers are giving 2.5 at home to the Chargers. You tell me what you. I like the Chargers in this spot.
Yeah, I'd take that.
I like the Chargers straight up in this spot.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins, they got him for nothing. I mean, and he had some really bad problems with injuries. I think
there's something in the water there in Baltimore. I think.
Yeah, something. We're gonna get into something of that too. But I really like the Chargers in this spot just to win outright. I feel like.
Yeah, I'd money line it.
Yeah, this is a game. I don't think the Steelers. They definitely haven't seen this kind of offense yet. And I know, and I'm going to give the fact that the Steelers do have a good defense. But man, Dobbins leading the league in rushing right now, and
that's really not Pittsburgh's strong suit is run defense.
Yeah, well, and this is right up Jim Harbaugh's alley.
Right.
Win it in the trenches, just like Tomlin. It's going to be interesting too, and somebody else brought up a good point. Joe Alt, which is that first round pick by Harbaugh out of Notre Dame, him going up against T.J. Watt.
Right.
So that's going to be really interesting to see how this works out and how Dobbins does. I think everything hinges on if the Chargers can continue this run dominance that they have. Because right now they're not using. Well,
if the Chargers hit 20 points, they win.
Yeah, I agree. Because right now Justin Herbert isn't throwing for much more than $150 a game, and that's really what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to win it on defense. He wants to win in the trenches. He wants to win it with the run game. and then just use his quarterback, and he has an elite quarterback as long as he can stay healthy,
Right.
to get him out of pickle type situations. That's really what he wants to do.
Yeah.
That's the name. That's his MO. I think that's all right. Another. Oh, by the way, 2-0 teams there. Who's the poser? And either or both those teams posers?
I would say Pittsburgh's more the poser.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Chargers. I think we talked about it. We kind of.
I think the Chargers can make the playoffs.
I think they have a chance to win that
The
division.
Steelers not. I don't think they are. I think they've gotten lucky. They've gotten lucky by who they've played. They played Atlanta in that first week, which everybody.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they can't win 8 or 9 or 10 games, but I just that.
Yeah.
I actually think this year is where you're
I
going.
think the Chargers
They're going
will-
to start skidding
I
because.
think the Chargers, if they win this game, I think they can win 10 games.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, I mean, they're already 3. They'd be 3-0
They'd
at
be
that
3-0,
point.
right?
Yeah, I could see the Chargers win 11 games, and I think they're built almost.
I mean, they're not winning that division. They're
I
not
mean, the
beating,
the
they're not
Chiefs-
beating the Chiefs, right?
I don't know, man. When they play each other, that's going to be a really interesting game. I think just because they're in that division,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Oakland's pretty good, but they're not. Or the Raiders are pretty good, but they're not.
Right.
It's not like this division. Even though Cincy and Baltimore's are 0-2, I don't think that stays like that for the entire season. But I don't know. It'd be really interesting. And so, who's the other 2-0 teams?
Well, that's the next game. Texans at Vikings. Texans.
Vikings are definitely posers.
Yeah, giving 2.
I think they played the best game they possibly could have played last week.
Okay. Against the Niners.
Yeah.
There's another stat I heard about that. The San Francisco 49ers, not that teams, outside of their division play in another location that often, but they haven't won in Minnesota since 1994. 30 years.
Damn.
The 49ers have not won in Minnesota in 30 years.
It's just one of those fucking flights.
Yeah. Last time they were up there last year before, and they got beat down by Kirk Cousins and the
Right.
Niners.
So
Or
you-
the-
So
Minnesota.
I'm looking at the Steelers' schedule. So they got the Chargers, the Colts. That's not going to be an easy game.
Mm.
Cowboys. That's I think Sunday night. Raiders on the road. Jets. They do have the Giants, Commanders, but then they get Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
Yeah.
So
It's murderer's row in the second
Yeah.
half of that schedule.
yeah,
So, all right. So, Texans, to me, playoff team. Vikings, I want to say they're posers too, but we're going to see how they turn out against the Texans here.
yeah. That'll kind of show you where they're at.
I really didn't expect this out of the Vikings, I'll tell you that.
Nope.
I don't think anybody really did.
Not with Sam Darnold.
Right. Eagles at Saints. So this is going to be a good one on Sunday.
I do not think the Saints are pretenders.
I don't think the Saints are pretenders. I don't think the Saints are going to keep playing at the clip they're playing.
No, I mean Derek Carr ain't fucking Peyton Manning.
But I'm going to tell you this. I was really looking for the Eagles to kind of get back to their 2022 form on defense.
Yeah.
They haven't shown me anything yet.
Nope.
And with Carr doing what he's been doing lately, this could be a rough road for the Eagles right here.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Well,
could,
they're Nick's an Eagles fan, and he does not like their secondary, and that was like their strong suit in 2022,
right,
21.
but not last year.
Nope.
They were getting smoked.
And not this year.
Right. It's not looking good. So that game there, New Orleans is 2.5-point favorites at home.
2.5?
2.5. Yeah, that's probably right. They're 2.5 favorites.
Against
At
the
home.
Eagles?
At New Orleans.
I would have done 3.5, but
Okay. All right. Here we go. Broncos at Bucks. So Buccaneers, another one of those 2-0 teams.
can we just trade the Buccaneers for their fucking schedule every year?
Right.
God.
Buccaneers are one of those 2-0 teams going up against the road Broncos team 0-2. The line is 6. I don't think that's enough.
No.
I think
That's just
why isn't
that-
that 7.5? I think it should be
Because
7.5.
they got Danger 6 there.
I'm just saying. I mean,
if you look at the Lions game last week, they got outgained 2-1. He had 2 fumbles and an interception.
right.
Made a good throw at the end of the game. I'll give him that. But they should not be 2-0.
Okay. Well, and I think that they're going to be 3-0.
Yeah.
After because the Broncos are also bottom dwellers in the league.
Right.
So I think the Buccaneers, are the opposers or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, they could win that division, but
Is the NFC South no longer the shittiest division? Because now you have the 2-0 Saints, you have the 2-0 Bucks, you got the 1-1 Falcons who came back against the Eagles, and of course you got the Panthers.
which definitely the worst. I don't know. Probably not the worst division in football. I mean, they definitely are. They're doing better than the AFC North right now. But I think once the season plays out, it'll kind of normalize
Equal itself out.
So I mean, then Tampa plays Philly, Atlanta, New Orleans, Baltimore, Atlanta. I mean, and San Fran. They have a tough schedule. Mm-hmm. I was looking through this last week. I'm like, I really don't see them winning more than like 8 games.
Okay.
I really don't. They got to go on the road against the Chargers, Cowboys.
1-1 Packers go to the 0-2 Titans, and
is Love still out?
Love is day to day right now. He's only questionable, so we don't know what's going to happen with him.
I mean, if he plays, they win.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if he doesn't play, I think they can do enough.
Will Levis is bad. Can we say that?
Yeah.
Can we just say that now? Will Levis is not good. When you got your newly hired head coaches coming out there and basically cussing you out in the middle of your team during the game and saying you're a fucking idiot because basically you just did the same shit last week and he called you out on it and then you did it again. Yeah, you're dumb. You're not good.
Yeah.
You're not good. So, yeah.
All the tools, nothing to
Tennessee actually is 3-point favorites. Of course, that line could adjust by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
That's just, I would stay away from that game betting wise until you know what Love's condition is.
Right. Bears 1-1 at the Colts 0-2. I think both of these teams are not good.
Right.
And I think the Bears should be better than what they are.
I will say this. I think Caleb Williams played a better game in Houston.
Indy is 1-point favorites at home right now, which doesn't really surprise me. But it does surprise me a little bit with, seeing how the Colts went to Green Bay last week and laid an egg.
Right.
Not really sure. We'll get into that a little bit, too. Panthers 0-2 at Raiders 1-1. Andy Dalton back now at the helm for the Panthers.
The Raiders got to have that one. What's
Raiders
the line?
are 6-point favorites.
Yeah, I would probably eat the points with that.
Okay, all right. I think it's a lot.
It's a lot, but
Andy Dalton coming back in. If it's Bryce Young, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to take that one all day.
I don't. There's not a lot around Andy Dalton.
The two-less Dolphins go to Seattle, who Seattle is also now 2-0.
Yeah, I think they're legit.
Okay. That's going to, yep. All right. Ravens 0-2 at the Cowboys 1-1. Baltimore is a 1-point favorite on the road. I actually disagree with that line.
Yeah.
I feel like Dallas is like I feel like Dallas is almost like us last year. Like we dominated the Bengals in that first game, and then we went and laid an egg in Game 2 on Monday night in Pittsburgh. Then we had to get it right.
The world was falling then, just like it was after Week 1 this year.
I feel like Dallas is going to be really pissed. I don't think Baltimore's winning this game.
I don't either.
0-3. I think Baltimore's starting the season 0-3.
I love it.
I do too. Lions 1-1 at Cardinals 1-1.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, that should be good. It'll be interesting to see. Kyler Murray. I know he had a hell of a game last week. It'll be interesting.
Better defense.
Yeah, against this Lions. Are the Lions better on the secondary? That's another team that had questions in the secondary last year. Right now, Detroit is 3-point favorites on the road. So it'll be interesting here. Now, this probably would have been a really good game, except for the fact that there's tons of injuries on both sides. The 1-1 49ers go to the Rams 0-2 divisional game. Niners are still 6.5-point favorites at the Rams. I think that's too much. I think I would probably take the Rams plus the points in that situation.
I mean, San Fran's kind of in that boat too, where they might be a little pissed off.
Yeah, they could be.
But no, that's a lot of points. I think,
especially for a divisional game.
Yeah.
And it's still on the road.
Yeah. 6 points.
So 6.5.
Yeah.
That's a lot to me. Chiefs 2-0 at Falcons 1-1.
That should be a good game.
I mean, I'm really pulling for the Falcons here just because they have a season-long win total on the Falcons. Just, I was jumping up and down last week just, to squeeze that one out.
What did you put the win total at?
Over 9.5.
Over 9. Yeah.
Over 9.5. So I have actually parlayed with the Steelers under 9.5.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's pretty good payoff if I hit that. So Jags 0-2 at Bills. Double Monday night game this week. And here's your lineup, folks. 0-2 Jags go to Buffalo to take on the 2-0 Bills. Buffalo -5. That's a weird number to me. That number should be 6.5, 7, in my opinion. Probably 7.5.
I feel like the closer it gets to the game, I mean, it's still minus.
Well,
-5?
right now on ESPN Bet, it's -5.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the Bills are above and beyond that. I think the Bills cover that easy. Now, the Bills did play kind of a sketchy defensive game against Cardinals week 1 in the first half, and they got right in the second half. I just think the Jags, it's going to be way too much.
They're going to be desperate, though.
Yeah.
They got it. They got to start putting some wins together.
Yeah.
Because the division's pretty much out the window.
Then
for
the
them at this
nightcap, and we might be asking for the Thursday night game to get here sooner. The Monday night primetime game is the 1-1 Commanders at the 0-2 Bengals, where the Bengals are -7 against the Commanders. -7.
I hope Jane Daniels lights them up.
I mean,
-7.
Thursday,
I would take the Commanders +7 there. There's no way.
I would say I can't wait for next Thursday night to get here sooner, except that it's the 1-1, probably about to be the 2-1 Cowboys at the Giants. Going to be 0-3 probably. So, but yeah, just an absolute shit slate for the doubleheader Monday night game. Okay. I want to go ahead and get into our Crying Jordan segment this week. Hopefully, everybody, thank you for joining in. Now's the time to definitely share our live over on TikTok, please, because this is a Crying Jordan segment, just to kind of give anybody an idea of what's going on here. So, the Crying Jordan, if you don't know or not, if you're not familiar with that meme at all, it came during his retirement speech, and everybody's cut out Crying Jordan's face, and then they fuse it into other people's, and so we decided to go ahead and start our own Crying Jordan nomination segment every week. And this week, I have a few of them. The first thing I want to do, I want to give one to the Colts here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give the Colts going up to Green Bay. Yeah, going up. I looked for that one. I looked for that one with the horse, because that one with the horse is an all timer, and I couldn't find it. But
that's pretty good, though.
That is pretty good. The other ones that were, and I rip Andrew Luck, but the ones they used to make with him and Andrew Luck they were so good. They're so good. Yeah, and the Colts. So Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, it's jury's still out on that guy, because he looked like shit last Sunday. You go into Green Bay without Jordan Love on the other side of the ball, and you still lose that game.
All you got to do is they lose 16-10.
Yeah,
17 points. You can't do that.
Oh,
it's not like Green Bay has like the best defense.
No. Yeah. Next one I want to give up, and I want to talk about this a little bit, is the 49ers, and this is an all-timer.
Oh,
right here. I love this one so much. The 49ers now. And I don't know, we were talking about something in the water. I don't know what the hell is going on. Remember a few years ago when they went to play the New York Jets and they had all those injuries?
Like 6 fucking season-ending injuries?
Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck is going on with the Niners? You know, everybody's picking them, between them and the Lions, to come out of the NFC.
That was the year before they got Lance, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, all of a sudden they're just, what are they doing over there? What are they doing in San Francisco? I mean, are all these guys that soft? So now you got, on the defensive side of the ball, you got Bosa out this week. Okay. I think Warner's questionable.
They have Fred.
I think he's questionable. On the offensive side of the ball, Christian McCaffrey is out another week. Rip fantasy owners who drafted him number 1 overall, by the way.
Didn't they put him on the IR for 4 weeks?
They might have now.
I think so.
But now, on top of that, Debo's out. And now, just announced yesterday, George Kittle is now out for this.
Well, that guy can't play fucking 16 games to save his life.
So now you have, here is your wide receiver room. You have Brandon Ayuk, and I just picked up Juwan Jennings, the veteran, to come. He's going to be like wide receiver 2. I mean, I think it's going to be like a fantastic pickup. It's going to be a fantastic pickup for me this week. And I picked him up before the Kittle news came out because obviously Kittle would have been, the wide receiver 2.
Right.
So, but I think that's a good situation. But, yep, I don't know what's going on out with San Francisco, but, man, the injuries with that team it's horrid.
Right.
And there's a history of it at this point. And, of course, this is, the Bengals. They have a perpetual crying Jordan. Well, this one here is, that's the 0-2 Bengals now, 1-9 in their last 10 season openers during the Joe Burrow era. And do you want to talk about Burrow? I know you said something you want to talk about Burrow a little bit.
I'm over the hype.
I am too.
Ever since they made the Super Bowl, it's like he can do no wrong.
Right.
But he's probably under 500 record-wise since then.
I don't know. I'd have to look at that.
But, I mean, since he signed that contract, he has been big trash.
Big trash. Garbage.
Isn't it?
Big trash.
There you go.
Garbage.
But at some point, we got to have this discussion. Like, what is he?
Right.
And I don't think it helps either that Jamar Chase isn't happy, T. Higgins isn't happy. They don't know how to pay their players down there.
And
so if you guys want to...
Right, nobody's really talking about this either. That defensive line is bad. Yeah. Like, they are getting gashed.
Yes. I cannot wait for Nick Chubb to get 200 yards against them.
They're getting gashed right now. And
their secondary isn't that good.
Is there any team in history that would say that, hey, we're sorry Joe Mixon left? Because, man, the Bengals are one of them.
He's in Houston now, right?
Yeah, he's in Houston. I mean, so he's gone.
Yeah, P. Ryan's gone. Who the fuck is the running back now?
Chase Brown.
Yeah, whoever that is.
Yeah, rookie.
I think they're at the point of like the end of the Andy Dalton, AJ Green era, where it's gonna be rough for them, unless they have some good drafts coming up because they're not paying free agents to come there. They're not paying their own players to stay there.
Right.
Jamar, we got plenty of open room here in our wide receiver next.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. So let's just go on down the road here.
Because they will pay him.
Let's say the Bengals miss the playoffs again.
Right.
Joe Burrow does end up eking out an entire season of starts. Is there a world where they put a double franchise tag on T. Higgins but don't pay Jamar Chase?
I could see it.
I could see it too. I mean, because
they can't do that. They can't. You only one franchise tag per year, right?
Correct. I mean, they could put a second one on him next year.
Well, I just mean like.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one per team more year.
Yeah, and even if they franchise him, he's not going to play on that. Somebody's going to make a trade for him.
I would think.
And that would be the one thing that would piss me off because they're not going to trade him here. Free agent market, I could see.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy's going to be like, just fucking pay him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we'll talk about that fucking him, Jerry Jeudy. That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you probably don't bring Coop back. He's probably gonna want to.
No, Coop's no.
He's gonna be 31, and he's got to show us this year he can still fucking play.
You can't. Yeah, right. Starting with tomorrow.
Right.
And the other thing I want to bring out, this guy is out on TikTok, and I don't know why this is so damn funny, but there's a guy out there, and the old paper sacks that like fans put on. We know it because we're Cleveland fans.
Yeah.
They put on themselves in the stands and say, but this guy is taking this to a new level. The White Sox now are about 3 or 4 games away, 3 games I think, from setting the all-time Major League Baseball.
With like 9 to go.
I think it's 7 or 8 now. 7 or 8 games. Like they had to go with 10 games left. They had to go 500. They have to go 5-5. They're not doing that.
No.
Okay, and this is something else I want to bring up. I looked down their schedule because the White Sox now have 118 losses. Okay, so they have to get.
Imagine being in that clubhouse.
Right, they have to get to 42 wins to tie the record. So I think there's 8 games left, so they have to win 5 of 8. That's not going to happen. And here's the best part, and I was just kind of looking at this a little bit. They end the season with a 3-game series with the Detroit Tigers. And why
hold the record?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Why is that relevant? Because the Detroit Tigers have it from 2003. Right. How good is it?
That is like, again, another one of those like.
And the Tigers, I don't know if you've kind of kept up on them. they've been a hell of a story over the last month in baseball. Like the
Okay.
Tigers have just been killing it right now. Like
Really?
they're barely out of
Why?
inactivity.
We're literally speaking.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Detroit Tigers right now are
6 game. Yeah,
they're very much in the hunt for the playoffs.
for the
So, and they've been killing it over the last month.
Yeah, they're 7-3 in the last 10. So's the Tribe.
Right.
Just hit 90 wins.
Yep. Shout
Oh
out.
hell yeah, they have as many wins as the Yankees.
So shout out to the Tribe here for clinching, and they're about to clinch the division.
Yeah,
So they clinch a playoff berth, but they're going to
they
clinch the
probably.
division. I would like to have that number 1 overall, though.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
would love to
yeah.
have that, so that at least, you know, with everything that's said and done, I don't know if this is true also, but Verlander started the other night. Of course, you know, you hate to face the Yankees or Houston in the playoffs. You know, but at some point you're going to have
You're
to.
gonna have to, but it'd be
I'd
nice
love to have it as a home stretch, a home game,
Yeah.
a home series for
Yeah.
us, though. You know, I definitely think that increases our chances.
for sure.
Anyway, going back to this White Sox fan. So this guy does this every time the White Sox lose, and he's been doing it since they've lost like 100 games, I think. But this guy right here, you got to play the video. So this guy is just fantastic. I immediately followed him over on TikTok, and I think you should too.
Ready?
Wow! 118 losses! 118 losses! 118 losses! Whoa!
This is like us getting on 16.
We did it, Jerry! 118 losses! Where am I? We are now 3 losses away from the most losses in modern day baseball history! We lost to the Padres, which is absolutely fake because every baseball team we face is our country! We did it, Jerry! We did it! Jerry! 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 Jerry!
And I don't know who the owner of the White Sox is.
Oh,
It must-
Jerry.
Is it Jerry Krause?
No, Reinsdorf.
Oh, Reinsdorf. That's okay.
Yeah, he owns the Bulls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Krause. That's what I meant.
Yeah. No, he's
but-
dead. So.
Yeah. We did it, Jerry.
Jerry.
So what is like?
Jerry.
Does one of his kids have the team then? Is that how that
Reinsdorf,
works?
I think he's still alive.
Oh,
Krause is
okay.
dead.
Krause is dead. Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
think Reinsdorf's still alive. I'm sure it's probably going to go in the family, but
Right. Anyway, that's all I have. I mean, that guy there, I can't remember what his handle is, but just go and type in like White Sox brown bag guy fan or something on TikTok. He'll come up. I mean, he's so good. I mean, every time the White Sox, he immediately puts out a video every time they lose, and they take losing to like a whole new realm too. They
Right.
might actually set like a record if they haven't done it already. They might actually set a record for like most series sweeps in a season. Like they've got swept the most.
you know, as bad as the Indians were for that many years,
Yeah,
this
team's
very
bad.
rarely would they lose 100 games.
right.
I couldn't imagine being like a big baseball fan like I used to be and have to watch that shit.
Yeah,
Like you're literally winning like 1 game a week.
yeah. There was a time they had a stretch here about a month ago where they lost like 21 straight.
Yeah, I remember.
It
that.
was bad.
Yeah, because I mean we talked about this back in
Yeah,
what, May?
yeah.
'Cause didn't they start off like
They started off
0-12
just
or something?
terrible. Yeah, it was bad.
And I want to reiterate this, they have a higher payroll than the Indians. It's insane.
I'll tell you speaking of the Detroit Tigers, you know who I'd like to get away from them is that Skubal, their starter.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if you could, which they're not going to do it. But man, I would love to get that guy to come over to the Indians and to be a starter for us in the offseason. Because that guy is money.
I think the Indians, regardless of how this playoffs go, are going to be all in next year.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
They're
going to have that number 1 pick, right? But of
Yeah.
course he's going
Well,
to go
didn't
to...
they already use that?
Did they use it? Is he in Columbus now?
I think so.
Or in Columbus, or at
Akron.
least in Akron? Okay. All right. But
Um,
anyway, yeah. Anyway, you got anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, my CJ.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm going to throw
Little
this out to Mr. I get fucking 80 mil guaranteed to just always be hurt. Talk about bad and this was one when it came over my phone. I was like, why the fuck did we just give him...
Jack Conklin.
He couldn't stay healthy in the first contract.
Right.
I mean, when he's out there,
Rick, what's going on?
reconnecting.
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry about that. Anybody that was watching on TikTok?
Couldn't capture the game. Something's going on.
That's probably
Anyway, so your CJ is Jack Conklin for
yeah, that's probably Russia.
playing or getting less wins than the White Sox this year.
Yes,
Okay.
and literally after a year of doing rehab, he gets a hamstring injury in practice.
Why not?
Why not? I mean, I like the guy when he's out there. When he plays, he's good.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
He's not $80 million good though, right?
No.
And now his contract's so bad you can't unload him.
No. No one's gonna take him.
Right.
I mean, he's only like 29.
Yeah.
If he just stayed healthy, it'd be worth it. Even if that has to be your fucking swing tackle, you already paid him.
Right.
But I honestly, I think that the plan is to have him play left tackle when Jed leaves.
Mm-hmm.
If they draft somebody, they'll have that competition there.
Right.
And I think they'll probably be able to get out of the contract next year, I would assume.
Right.
Because this will be, year 3 of it next year or 4?
I think so.
But yeah, no, that's the one thing where I'm like, that was the one contract that I was like, what? Why are you giving him that kind of money? Like, there had to be someone out in free agency better than that.
Right.
Or at least healthier than that.
Right.
But, yeah, no, that's all I got.
All right. Well, like I said, follow us over on Facebook. Thank you, everybody, for getting in the chat. Everybody over on TikTok. Also, follow us over on X. We don't do nearly as much stuff on X, formerly known as Twitter.
I don't think you have to say that anymore.
I know, but I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it until like 20 years from now. We're not going to exist, but 20 years from now, I'm going to say,
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we do have our merchandise. We're willing to go ahead and ship. We have a RawDawgers authentic T-shirt. Anybody that's interested in those, $20, and I will ship. And I won't take anything for the shipping. I'm going to charge you for shipping, but I'm not going to eat you $10 shipping
Right.
and handling for
Yeah,
something.
$3 or $4 or something.
You're right, exactly. So get over there. You can always drop us a DM. Let us know where we got it wrong too. You
Yep.
know, and give us if you guys have any Crying Jordan nominees, good or otherwise, we'll be the judge of those, and we'll put them up on the show. So
Yep, that would be awesome.
all right.
All right, well, till next week, go Browns.